Stuart.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner, before you came into the room, there was somebody employed by the Commission sitting to my left talking about climate change, by which he means global warming. The word has slightly changed. I think everyone in this room should be aware of the fact that reports are coming in of up to 5 million acres, in my language, of winter wheat in Ukraine and Russia has been destroyed by cold weather, frost lift or frost heave. Cold weather is not a thing of the past, it's not history, it will always be with us. Just because carbon dioxide levels are a little higher than they were a few years ago means nothing. And it worries me that your CAP reform, one of the endeavours there is that we can change the climate. I don't think we can. One of the ways you're going to do that is to have 7% ecologically focused areas. In the light of this disaster in Russia and Ukraine, I do hope you will reconsider this. Now, the other point is sugar. We've already been talking about it, but I want to bring your proposals much closer to home. Because one of your proposals is going to destroy up to 850 jobs in the UK, and it will actually transfer them to other EU countries. Most unfair. And I'm talking about the proposal to cease quotas for sugar beet production in 2015, because this won't be matched by a similar relaxation of quotas for the cane sugar refiners, represented in my country by Tate and Lyle. And that firm has been a strong player in the UK sugar market all my life and long before we joined the European Union. It needs more tariff-free raw material. It's got to have that to keep its refineries supplied. At the moment, it's slowing down. It's closing at weekends. It's losing its critical mass. And it means the costs of refining are becoming uncompetitive. And the factory is going to close. And you, actually, are the one person in the world who can keep it open. And the beneficiaries of your proposal will be the sugar beet industry in France and Germany, not in Britain, because in Britain we obeyed EU laws and we closed factories 2 or 3 years ago, and those factories cannot be rebuilt by 2015. Tate and Lyle have urged you to visit them, to come and look at that factory in London and see for yourself how efficient they are. But as yet, as I understand, you haven't answered their invitation. I have written to you on this subject, and I haven't had a reply as yet. It would appear you're completely indifferent to the situation, which I think is scandalous, because the UK is one of the few countries in the European Union that is a net contributor. Those contributions come from taxpayers. Employees of Tate and Lyle are taxpayers, and they've been pumping money into the EU, and this is how they're being repaid. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Agnew, on climate change, you often have very interesting information that I don't seem to have. You're telling me what I'm doing, while I'm not even aware that I'm doing these things. The Common Agricultural Policy does not state that it's going to fight against CLIM. There are tools put forward so that farmers can respond to or can deal with the repercussions of climate change. That's all this is about. Of course, we're factoring in climate change, which isn't just inflicting itself on Europe, but other places as well. It's to help farmers deal with the impact of climate change on their income and so on and so forth, and that's why we want these mutual funds and looking at it from the insurance point of view. Now, on quotas, if I understood correctly, you're saying, why are we getting rid of quotas? I'd understood that the UK wanted us to keep quotas. Now, Tate and Lyle, because you referred to them, a few years ago, after the reform of our sugar policy, they decided to close down certain companies, but to develop their production capacity because they were betting on more importing of unrefined sugar, more than they're doing now. But that was their business strategy. That has nothing to do with the European Commission. It's not our problem if a private company decided a few years ago to improve its production capacity because basically they betted on a certain situation, and then they can't come and point the finger at the Commission saying that we're responsible for them having to lay people off. What the European Commission has done is to suggest the elimination of quotas so that the sugar market can be as open as possible. But that's about business strategy. It's not the European Commission's fault. And then you said that I have been indifferent. I would be, if I were open to all the requests of companies that want me to go and visit them and want to discuss their private business strategies, then I wouldn't have time to deal with the CAP, which is a public policy. So this is what I have to say. You know that I have always been open to listening to the problems that you've raised, but I think that we have to make sure that there is a certain coherence in what we're asking for. Now, on the role of innovation and research.